Now if we apply the same policy for a compressor, then what we can see, that is going to explain now. Now compressor is nothing but a reverse working principle of turbine. That means in case of turbine, what we can see, that high pressure fluid at high pressure and temperature it will come in, then it is going to be expanded inside the turbine, and at the exit part the working medium, that means the working fluid, will be available at low pressure and low temperature. That is the case of turbine. And the turbine working principle, that is a adiabatic process. In case of compressor, it is also a kind of adiabatic process. So I can say that the heat transfer from the system is not going to be executed. Here also that Q dot is 0. But the working principle is completely reverse. That means here low pressure and low temperature working medium come in. Basically in case of compressor, we compress, it can be air or it can be other fluid also, other fluid. Like in our domestic purpose, we can see also a compressor, like just to fill compressed air in any automobile tire. It can be bike, it can be four-wheeler, it can be bicycle. Inside the tire some compressed air is being filled, and that way we can see the compressor in nearby garage. At that point of time the working medium is air. Also the compressor we can see in our refrigerator, that means in our home we can see a compressor is there, as well as for a air conditioner there is also a compressor. That compressor is handling a different working medium, that is a refrigerant, it is not air. Okay, so working medium can be any fluid. Similarly at exit part you can see here that high pressure and temperature working medium will come out. Just the reverse condition in case of turbine. Turbine we have seen that work will be produced, the output or work will be produced in case of turbine, but in case of compressor we can see that work is being supplied to the system. That means while the compressor is going to operate, that point of time you have to connect a motor there. A motor will be there, electrical motor. It is giving the motion to that compressor. So that way it needs to supply any work input. Either if you don't supply the work input to the device, then it will not run at all. So that way that work is being supplied to the system. You have to supply some work. It has been supplied to the system. Okay, it is a work consuming device actually, and turbine is work producing device. That way we can see that diagram is also a reverse one. In case of turbine we have drawn a diverging section. Here you can see a converging section. That means volume is being compressed, not expanded, compressed. Okay, so that way after all these points we can say that it is a reverse reversing a reversed operating principle of turbine, just reverse. Okay, so whatever we are going to see over here, that how that steady state steady flow energy equation is going to modify for compressor also. Just like the turbine, here also we are ignoring that change in kinetic energy, or rather say in short, ignoring change in kinetic energy, that is del Ke and del Pe, that is the change in kinetic energy and change in potential energy. Similarly that heat transfer is getting 0 because it is a adiabatic process. So in the same fashion, from first law we can write, or rather say from SS steady state steady flow energy equation, we can write that same equation if we write again HE, if we write this equation continuously or repeatedly, then it will be easy to memorize the equation. Minus HI plus VI square by 2 plus ZZI is equals to Q dot minus W dot SH by M dot. That is the whole equation. Similarly, in case of turbine, whatever we have done, that I have to copy here also. It is 0. Change in kinetic energy ignored, change in potential energy ignored. So I can write again HE minus HI, that is the drop of enthalpy or specific enthalpy, nothing but minus W dot SH by M. That same equation we have derived for turbine also, but mind it, here in case of compressor, that HE is greater than HI. That should be keep in your mind, because at the output or at the exit part, while the working medium is getting emanated from the compressor, then the pressure and temperature both is getting high, so that way the enthalpy also will be getting higher. So obviously exit enthalpy will be greater than the inlet enthalpy. So that way this left hand side will give you a positive value, but the right hand side it is giving you a negative value, because this negative is there, from here it is coming. That means work done for compressor is negative, and we know from our theoretical concept that every device, if it is consuming some work, or rather say if the work is being supplied to the system, whatever is happening over here also, that point of time by sign convention we should consider work done should be negative. And by this equation also I can see that if we adopt the equation on this compressor, it will give you a negative work done. The negative work done justifies that the work done supplied to the system. That is the main difference between turbine work and the compressor work. In case of turbine work, that same equation was there, but that point of time that HE was lesser than the HI. So that's why that both of these minus side from both the sides will be cancelled and the work done will be remain positive. Understood? But in case of compressor, while the HE is greater than HI, so this side will giving you a positive value and that side is having a negative value. So that means as a whole, the work done or rather say specific work for compressor will be negative. And that means that work done to the system in this case. And the same principle can be adopted for pump also. So for compressor as well as for pump, that same equation will be applied. So the equation is look like this one. That means specific work W dot SH specific work by M dot is there, is nothing but minus of, or rather say I can switch the equation like this, minus HI by HE. You can see HI will be lesser, so HE is greater, so that value will give you a negative value result. So that's why it will always coming with negative work done. And both of the device, that means pump and compressor, follow this equation, pump and compressor both. Okay, now we are going to see how this equation can be applied for other devices. Now if we apply the same steady flow energy equation for another device which is known as nozzle, it is also an open system. That means mass and energy both coming in and going out, and generally we assume that nozzle is used to increase the velocity of flow comparing with inlet and outlet. Okay, so nozzle is a vast thing. In future, in old syllabus nozzle is there, but in new syllabus is it going to be introduced for you people or not, I don't know. But nozzle is a very important device. Depending on the flow velocity, is it more than 1 Mach number, that means it is a sonic flow or subsonic flow, depending on that convergent cross section of nozzle can increase the velocity or it can decrease the velocity. Okay, so I am not going to onto that details over here because it is not that subject, or I don't have that scope to discuss nozzle in elaborate manner. So I am giving you a small brief introduction regarding nozzle. It is basically also a kind of adiabatic device. That means we consider that it is a completely insulated thing. That means no heat transfer will occur. You can see it is a convergent nozzle I have shown. It can be a divergent nozzle also, which is generally known as diffuser. Okay. So in case of this particular case, I can show you, I have shown you that Ti, Pi, Hi and Vi, that is the thermodynamic property for the incoming fluid, and Te, Pe, He and Ve, they are the thermodynamic property for the outgoing fluid. T means temperature, P means pressure, H means specific enthalpy, and V is the velocity. Minded that both of them are capital V. As well as I can say that if there is no moving part in this particular nozzle, that means no displacement is occurring. That's why there is no displacement, there is no rotation. So that way I can say that work done is nothing but zero. Why it is zero? Because there is no rotational motion, there is no linear motion, no displacement is occurring there. That's why I can consider in case of nozzle there is no work done at all. No work done to the system, no work done by the system. That way I can say that work done is zero for a particular nozzle. Okay, so here if we apply the first law for the open system, whatever we have already used several times, so that first law, so we can write a few things like nozzle, it is generally used to increase the velocity. So after application of first law of steady flow in steady state flow energy equation, that look like this one, He V square by 2 plus Zze minus Hi plus Vi square by 2 plus Zi equals to Q dot minus W dot Sh by M. Here, while the no heat transfer is taking place, so the Q dot must be equal to 0, and no work done is also taking place, so W dot Sh also is 0, and obviously it is having a same datum. That means both of these Ze and Zi, both of them are equal actually. Datum, if we consider that is a datum surface, so Zd and Zi, they will be remain cancelled. So the leftover item whatever we are getting, that is nothing but He plus V square by 2 is equals to Hi plus Vi square by 2. Okay, so if we just switch over right hand side and left hand side, then it will be look like this, V square minus Vi square equals to 2 Hi minus He. This equation is basically valid for our nozzle. What does this mean? This means that drop in kinetic energy basically that half is there. So if we convert that to like this way, I can write this equation like this way, half V square minus half Vi square equals to Hi minus He. So that is the change in kinetic energy is nothing but the drop in enthalpy. So that way you can find out the exit velocity of a nozzle if you know the inlet velocity and both of these enthalpies. If we know these three values out of this equation, then you can get the fourth one. Okay, if we consider basically for solving the nozzle problem, generally we consider that VE, that means the exit velocity, is much greater than VI. Actually it occurs, that's why we can ignore that VI part. So that equation then change into VE is written like HI minus HE whole root over. Okay, so that equation, why it is coming, so since I am ignoring that VI is ignoring, because V is much greater than VI. Okay, otherwise if we consider that VI, then that equation will be look like this: VE to HI minus HE plus VI square will be there. Okay, so if we don't consider that VI not equal to 0, then it will be look like this. Whatever it is, either this equation you should keep in your mind. So from there, if we see that VI is neglected, then that equation can be converted. Okay, so that will be this one. So the exit velocity from the nozzle easily can be known if the inlet enthalpy and the exit enthalpy of the working medium is known to us. Suppose if it is a steam nozzle, every kind of steam turbine there must be a nozzle. So the steam inlet enthalpy for the nozzle and the steam exit enthalpy from the nozzle, if it is known to you, then you can find easily that what will be the exit velocity of the nozzle. Okay, so that equation is very important for us. Now that for same equation, if an ideal gas, if we consider, if an ideal gas flowing through nozzle, if we consider that ideal gas flowing through a nozzle, then that same equation can be converted in terms of, that means the exit velocity also can be expressed in terms of pressure and temperature if in this particular case, because in case of ideal gas we can use this PV equals to RT and dH, that is the change in enthalpy, that is Cp dt. Both of these equations are known to us now. That mind it, that is small v, the specific volume, and RC means characteristic gas constant, dH means drop in or change in enthalpy, Cp specific heat, and dt change in temperature. So using these two equations, I can convert that equation in terms of pressure and temperature. How? Easily I can write that, hence we can write that VE square, that is the exit velocity square coming from here. Exit velocity square is nothing but 2 HI minus HE, while VI is tends to 0 that point of time. Okay, similarly I can change that equation like this way: 2Cp Ti minus Te, because change in enthalpy, it is nothing but Cp into dt. So if we write this equation for HI, that means inlet enthalpy, it will be equal to Cp into Ti. Similarly, if you write it for He, then it will be Cp into Te. Then if you subtract them both, that means Hi minus He, it will be giving like this. Very easy. So similarly, that can be written like 2Cp. If we take Ti as a common, then it can be written 1 by Te by Ti. That is equal to nothing but V square. So now you can see that V square is written like this. That is the same equation converted into in terms of temperature. So similarly, now you can say that if you know the temperature at inlet of the nozzle and if you know the temperature at the exit of the nozzle for the steam, whatever working medium you are working with, if you know both the temperature at inlet and exit, then, and if you also know the specific heat of that particular working medium, then you can find the exit velocity of that nozzle. Similarly, you can convert that relation for the nozzle using the I can wiping it out this side. In terms of pressure also, because for adiabatic process I have already mentioned it is an adiabatic process, that's why q dot is 0. So for adiabatic process I have already developed or used these relations. Again it is kind of a recapitulation. We know that P1 V1 to the power gamma is nothing but P2 V2 to the power gamma. This relation is known to us. So from there I can write P1 by P2 is nothing but V2 by, they are not capital V, they are small v minded specific volume. So V2 by V1 to the power gamma. And also we know that PV equals to RT minded, that is characteristic gas constant. So that way I can write easily at inlet and exit if I consider 1 and 2. So that can be written P1 V1 by T1 is equals to P2 V2 by T2. And that way I can also write V2 by V1 is nothing but P1 T2 by P2 T1, simply switching the side, this side and that side. So from there I can substitute that P1 by P2, this part, this equation can be substituted over here. So that way I can write it at the top side. I am just wiping this side. So from here I can write now that V2 by V1. So hence from here I am writing P1 by P2 is V2 by V1. So V2 by V1 is this one. So P1 T2 by P2 T1 and whole to the power gamma. I haven't done anything special over here. That V2 by V1 I have replaced over here. Nothing special. So that way if we replace, if we switch that equation and I am trying to find out the T2 by T1. So from there if you find out that T2 by T1 value, so T2 by T1 is nothing but P2 by P1 gamma minus 1 by gamma. That will be coming from here. If you just swipe this equation here, left hand side and right hand side, that final equation, that final relation, it is always applicable for any adiabatic process. And that relation is very important. It is very randomly used to solve numericals also. Okay, so that T2 means here in this particular case nozzle, T2 means TE and T1 means TI, that is the exit and inlet. So that is nothing but P2, that is P exit, and P1, that is P inlet, whole to the power gamma minus 1 by 1 gamma. This relation is now going to substitute over here. So that way I can write that 2 Cp Ti will be remain there, 1 minus Te by Ti. Now I can write Pe by Pi whole to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Here you can see that V square now can be written like this manner also. So here I have shown you people 3 different ways to find out the exit velocity of nozzle, and that is a very important parameter actually, the exit velocity of nozzle. How much velocity at the output of the nozzle you are getting, that is a very very important parameter. That's why in these 3 forms I have represented that exit velocity of nozzle. That first one using the enthalpy. Enthalpy always is not available for us. Then if the working medium is ideal gas, then that equation can be converted in terms of temperature, exit temperature and inlet temperature, as well as it can be expressed with the help of pressure ratio. But mind it, if the working medium is ideal gas, then it can be executed. Otherwise you have to continue that equation whatever I have written at the beginning, that is V square, this one I have already written over here. And mind it, this is valid while that Vi tends to 0. If Vi is not 0, then Vi part will be remain there. Okay, so that is the whole thing for nozzle. Then we are going to use that same thing for the diffuser also, diffuser, and then we are going to proceed to heat exchanger. Now in case of diffuser, what we can see, diffuser is a device which basically decrease the kinetic energy at the exit part of the working fluid. That means just a reverse thing of nozzle. Nozzle generally increases the velocity from inlet to exit, and diffuser do the reverse thing. That means from inlet to exit the velocity is going to be decreased. So the cross section of diffuser I have shown over here, that is, you can see it is a diverging section, and that specific enthalpy, pressure, temperature, velocity, they are different thermodynamic property at the inlet and exit. In case of nozzle, we have seen that it is a adiabatic process. Also a diffuser is a adiabatic process. That's why I have written Q dot equals to 0. And in case of diffuser also, there is no work done is involved there, so that way W dot SH is also getting 0. Now the same kind of application for steady state steady flow energy equation can be done as like as in case of nozzle we have applied. So that way that Q dot is equals to 0 and W dot SH is equals to 0, as well as there is no change in potential energy because it is also acting with the same datum at inlet and exit. So that way ZE and ZI also here is they are equal. So change in potential head, it is not there. So the first law from steady state steady flow equation we can write here that HE, that is the specific enthalpy at the exit part, plus V square by 2 is equals to HI plus Vi square by 2. Since it is an adiabatic process, so Q dot equals to 0. There is no work done, that's why W dot SH is also 0, and ZI and ZE, they are equal. So that's why these three assumptions or these three conditions, if we apply on the equation, it will look like this, just like the nozzle. So that's why I am not going to elaborate this particular thing again. So that way, just like the nozzle, also I can write the same equation over here, that is VE square, exit velocity, then VI square, inlet velocity square, is nothing but equal to 2HI minus HE. That same relation I have developed for the nozzle also, but mind it, here in case of diffuser, that HE is greater than HI. That means the enthalpy at the exit part will be increased comparing with the enthalpy at the inlet part. That's why the velocity is going to be decreased. If the enthalpy is increased, then thus obviously the velocity is going to be decreased. So while this particular condition is, we can see over here, so that point of time I can see is right that Vi obviously will be greater than VE. Okay, actually the velocity and the specific enthalpy is having a reciprocal relationship over here. So that's why while the exit velocity is lower than the inlet velocity, then the enthalpy at the exit part will be higher comparing with the inlet part. Okay, so that's why while this condition is actually occurring over there, then we can say that this value will giving you a negative result, that means HI minus HE, that way will be giving you a negative result. So that's why I can write that velocity at the exit will be reduced because I can see that Vi is greater than VE. Okay, velocity at the exit will be reduced. That is the actual function of diffuser. And similarly in case of nozzle, whatever we have derived the equation, this equation in terms of pressure and temperature, that can be done for diffuser also, assuming the working medium as an ideal gas. Okay, so that same expression can be developed in terms of pressure and temperature. Whatever we have done in case of nozzle, those relations can be adopted for diffuser also. So just the difference between nozzle and diffuser. In case of nozzle, we have seen that the exit velocity is lesser than the inlet velocity. Inlet velocity is lesser than the exit velocity in case of nozzle. So we may make a differentiation in nozzle and diffuser here. So in case of nozzle, the exit velocity VE obviously is much greater than VI, and in case of diffuser, the reverse thing, exit velocity is much lesser than the inlet velocity. Similarly, here we have seen that the enthalpy enthalpy at the exit part, that means in case of nozzle, the enthalpy at the exit part, that is HE, is lesser than the HI. Okay, and in case of diffuser, we have seen that HE is greater than the HI. Okay, so while that velocity is going to be increased, obviously to compensate that, enthalpy will drop. That's why the exit enthalpy is lesser than the inlet enthalpy, just to increase the velocity. And the reversing, in case of diffuser, while the velocity is going to be dropped at the exit part, then obviously the enthalpy will getting increased. That's why these two conditions should be remembered, or should keep in your mind always while you are going to do the problem using either nozzle or diffuser. Okay, next we are going to apply the same energy equation for heat exchanger.